Wi-Fi because it keeps wanting to connect as we go down, and turn off my Bluetooth. So many things.
Well,
Okay. All right. 7 people have entered the waiting room. Okay. Are you ready? Set.
yeah, my hair is just going. So we're ready.
Oh, 11 people now. Jeez. Admit all a damn.
Off-roading today.
Oh, come on. All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
All right. So I can hear some folks. So I think probably what we're going to do is we'll keep the microphones off for now, and then we'll have some Q&A later. What we're going to do first is we're going to just drive around the community and show you different neighborhoods, the different areas. You'll see houses from the outside. We might stop, Donald. We stop at your house.
It's yeah, it looks like we're packing to go to the island. So
Oh,
yeah,
you are packing. That's right. Okay. All right. So looks like Donald's gonna let us take a peek at his house. They're getting ready to go to Lobster Fest out in Key Calker. So he said it may be luggage around. But anyway, I've got the Zoom call going here, and people are kind of coming in little by little. So if you see me pause or whatever, I'm admitting people as they come in. So sorry for any delay there. But hey, welcome everybody to Carmelita Gardens. Donald and I are at the entrance. Here's Donald. Say hi. Some of you have maybe communicated with Donald on the phone or via email. Now you get to see him live here in his element. Yes. So I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're going to show you on the map where we are. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, so this is the entrance, and we are going to start at the entrance and then go by the town square, kind of where we have the village green, and we have what will be where the community center will be, kind of recreation area, and we'll then continue around to our cottage lane. This is a microgrid community where all of the power and the water is distributed amongst the cottages. All of the other houses are independently powered and have their own rainwater harvesting and filtration systems. So that's part of what our motto is: independent together. So all of the homes are independent, but we come together as a community. We'll continue down over by the Riverside Park. This is where we would like to go and hang out in the river, or launch canoes, kayaks, go floating on inner tubes, or Donald likes to just go in his life jacket and float around. He started that. He's got a group that joins him now, and they go on a little float, and then they come back over here on this part of the community. It's about a 1-hour float, and you never leave our stretch of the river. So pretty cool there. And then we'll continue on over to the peninsula, where you'll see the beautiful homes, the villas that are built along the river there on the peninsula, and then continue and look at some other homes that are under construction over here to where we have the access to the river, and then around some other construction sites. The Maya Mounds, we actually do have Maya Mounds, and we have a new owner who's a retiring professor who's going to take on kind of being our on-site archaeologist and have programs for education for children, and just a community activity that anybody can join in on. And then after that, we'll come back here to the entrance. As we then start a Q&A, we'll go to our sales office and hang out there as we do our Q&A. So that's our route. Every once in a while, we'll pull up the map just so you can see where we are along the way. But without any further ado, we are going to head down the road. Last time we did this, and Donald was the driver, we did a little four-wheeling. There were some lots that we wanted to see, and he did not get us stuck. almost, but not quite. So we'll see how he does today.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our main entrance, and as you saw on the map, there is a roundabout. We have three main roundabouts, and one is right here as you enter, and we'll be landscaping that. We'll have a nice water feature like a fountain and some beautiful landscaping that sort of represent the river and the beautiful earth and the sky that we have here. We've got such a fertile valley here in the Belize River Valley. It's just amazing and just the perfect place to be building an off-grid community and off-grid homes. So as we come up here on the left, you'll see our village green. The community was designed as a traditional community. The village green is 300 feet by 300 feet, which if you ever go to a traditional town and really throughout the world, in Latin America, the US, in Europe, these little villages have these town squares that are the same size. It's about 90 meters or 300 by 300. And if you go and you pace it off, you'll find that it is whatever, it's the human scale. It just feels right. It's the right scale. And then it's designed to have little mom and pop shops surrounding the village green. We have trees that have been planted. One of our residents, Dave, he's kind of our Johnny Appleseed, and he likes to go around and plant trees and trim them, and just loves his trees. So he picked a lot of flowering trees to go around the town square that will provide shade for generations to come. This is the first of our Cottage Row. This is called Cottage Uno. It's the first one there, and we use that as our office now. And when we do our Q&A, we'll come back around there. And then we have Cottage Cayo. Every cottage has its own name. The owners named it. And we have like the Cottage Cayo is a rental unit. This one, the Eco Nomad or Economad, owned by an economist who likes to travel. That one he customized with a porch on the back and a little balcony from the loft area. That's actually his permanent residence, but he likes to travel. So we have, like I said, rentals, we have part-time residents, and then we have full-time residents like Tony here in his cottage Ithaca, named after the Odysseus home, where after many, many years at sea, he finally went inland. And once he got someplace where person could not recognize an oar anymore, he knew that he was home, and he laid down his oar and he never returned to the sea because he had found his paradise. So that's Tony's story there. Aurora Tropical, owned by an Alaskan. So we have all of these different cottages, and then each one, oh, Donald, if you stop here a minute, each one has its own personality. Even though they were based on the same design, we just don't do anything that's cookie cutter. Everything has got a little personal flair to it. And then we have individual homes. This is based on a cottage, but built with concrete insulated forms. And the loft goes all the way across the whole house, and they did a little higher knee wall so they have more room up in the loft. This is a couple that owns an organic apple orchard in Minnesota, and they're going to kind of semi-retire down here. Harry is going to be doing a permaculture forest garden at the front of the community forest, and Jackie, I think, is going to get involved in their cider making and wine making. That they've done that in Minnesota, and they want to do some of that down here, as well as host students and volunteers at their home in the loft area. So this is where the white building is where we host our weekly market garden. We have an organic garden, which you can kind of see behind the row of cottages here. And we have a number of residents, Donald is one of them, that come out and help in the garden. They work the market garden on Monday mornings, and then they help to water and weed and do that. So it's a nice community effort, and it helps to supply the food needs of our community. And as the community grows, we continue to, add more to our food production as well. Along with being the place where we have the market, this also is where our property manager has their office, and it is also where we have the microgrid for the Cottage Row, where we have the solar array and the water collection, filtration, and then distribution to the different cottages. So Donald, we can continue on.
And also,
Yes.
there's a laundromat in there.
Yes.
For when you're renting or staying with us and you're smart enough to stay in one of the cottages, you get laundry facilities.
That's right. Yep. When
Not
Donald's
terrible.
house was under construction, he rented a cottage and stayed here until it was complete. And we'll go by his house. But that's a very popular thing to do. We have a number of owners who are just anxious to get down here. So they rent while their home is under construction. And when it's finished, they just move on over to their home. And this is another cottage, a full-time resident, Mary, who's a retired nurse. And just the sweetest lady that you ever want to meet. Really nice. We just love having Mary around. We just really have, just in general, our community is just filled with great people. Vern, a retired chiropractor, 83 years old, and you should see him ride his bicycle around like a teenager. And it's just amazing. And a good, healthy life here, and people take full advantage of it. Over here, we have another retired couple, Canadians, as you can see with the maple leaf there. Very proud Canadians. They love being here in Carmelita, and they participate in the garden and just other events. Just, again, wonderful folks. Nice addition to the community. Rob and Jamie, they're not here right now. It's a younger couple, still working. He's a pilot, and she does online counseling. We have good internet here, and it looks like it's going to get even better as we are negotiating with the telephone company to provide fiber optics to the community. So we have, we're off grid, but we're not out of communication. We have good communication right now, but like I said, it's going to get even better with the addition of fiber optics soon. So over here we have Donald's house. He moved into his house right around his birthday in February. He was renting a cottage until then. So it worked out great. We had a nice golden ribbon cutting, which is like a housewarming. It's one of our traditions in Carmelita. We do golden shovels to start the construction and a golden ribbon as a housewarming when the project is over. So Donald has been living in his home since February, and is always happy to show it off, even when he's packing to go to Lobster Fest. So we're going to continue on down the road here, and you can see some of the other variations of homes that we have. There's one that's under construction. It's a custom home. And then we have two sort of variations on the cottage model. One built with wood with a cupola up top, and the other one is the insulated concrete form, where you added a bedroom to the side and did some other interior modifications as well. And we have one of the first homes that we built, which we call the La Sombra, which means the shade. It's got a wraparound porch. And this is the model home that Donald's house was inspired by. He made some really clever changes to the interior with the way that the bathroom and kitchen and laundry facility worked. And it works out great. And now his home has become our new model home. And we already have people that are working with that, with our design team. We've got a really talented design team. Louise works with all of our owners. She is a really recent graduate of the University of Edinburgh. She's from England. She studied in Scotland. She came to Carmelita Gardens as a volunteer back just before COVID started. So she was here in early 2020, went back and then continued to get her master's. And then we got really, really busy in 2020 after the lockdown. So she then came and moved here after things opened up again at the end of the year. And now we're very, very fortunate to have her, and she works with all of our owners to modify their homes. So here's one of our river access points. You can see down there to the river as it kind of slowly flows by. That's a spot where you will find owners with their chairs, their folding chairs in there in the river, cooling off and just hanging out, watching sunset, which is going to be happening soon. And the river otters playing and the toucans flying by. It really is a nice little paradise. And if you want to float, like I said, you can do it in a life jacket, an inner tube, canoe, kayak. And it takes about an hour to get to the other side of the community by river. And it's a really nice, relaxing float. So as Donald backs up here, I'll show you the other house there to the left. That is a nice big custom home. It was actually the third home that we built. It has a pool in the backyard, has a gourmet kitchen. It has a bar with a wine cooler, refrigerator, ice maker, semi-detached cottage in back, as well as a fully equipped outdoor kitchen. It's got a really nice deck overlooking the river. It's amazing, and it's all off grid. So it just shows you from a cottage to a bungalow, which is like the La Sombra and like Donald's house, to a custom riverfront villa. You really can have whatever you're looking for and completely off grid. This is another example of a different kind of bungalow. This is a 2-story loft area here in this section, and then 1-story, but it has 2 bedrooms and a loft that has a queen size bed in it. It's got 2 bathrooms, and it's all accessible. It was designed, the owner, her mom was wheelchair bound, and she wanted to make sure that when her mom visited, she could easily get around. So we designed this to be an accessible, barrier-free home. And it's our most popular rental. It almost never has any vacancy. The vacancy is only between renters, which are typically long-term renters that are here while their home is being built, and then they will move from here, from the Belize is what it's called, to their own custom home. That's the case up here with the house with the blue roof. Al is renting actually a cottage right now while his house is under construction. It's not going to be long before we'll be having a golden ribbon for him. They're moving right along. And as you can see, this is about the time of day here where the crew starts to head out. They get in about 7 o'clock in the morning and leave at about 4:30. And we've got some of the best builders in the country. I've been doing this for almost 20 years in Belize now, and I've been through a number of builders up in northern Belize, and even here in the early days. But we're very fortunate to have a great crew, and we have multiple crews, and they're all from the area. We like to. That was one of the missions from the very beginning, and still carry it on today. We want to create economic development for the local village of Santa Familia, and we provide a lot of jobs for Santa Familia residents, other ones from Bullet Tree and Billy White, 2 other villages nearby, and we continue to need more. Today, I was meeting with the builder saying we've got more houses to build, so go and start looking for the next crew. Currently, we have 8 homes that are in various stages of construction, and we have 7 more that are through the design process and are now in drafting or permitting. We've actually done 2 golden shovels, one on this lot and one in the next lot. So the crews are now ordering materials and getting ready to mobilize for 2 more construction sites there. Like I said, we have 7 that are ready to go, and then 7 more that are in design and or early drafting stages. So we, by this time next year, we will have just about doubled in the number of homes and more than doubled in our population, because not only do we have a nice group of retirees or semi-retirees, but we're now attracting families. We have families ranging from 1 or 2 children to one family that has 8 children.
Oh.
So we're going to have a really nice intergenerational community, and these families are just wonderful, just like the other folks in the neighborhood. Salt of the earth folks with really nice children pedaling their bicycle around, talking to the folks that are out walking their dogs, and it's just the kind of idyllic setting that we had always dreamed of, and it's coming true now. We have a nice park here that's under the Raintree, with an easement that then goes out to the river over there. So we'll start appointing our parks with some different activities. You'll see as we go around, there's one park where we've started a basketball, kind of a sport court, and there'll also be a pet park there. Here with the Raintree, this is it's kind of a special story that I like to tell, that when the community was still very young, a friend of mine from Florida came down with his girlfriend, and he said he wanted to propose to her here in Carmelita. So what we did is we surprised him by hanging a tree swing there from the limb under the rain tree, and it was made of mahogany and nice, nicely polished. And on the bottom, we engraved "Will you marry me?" And so he came out and he was pushing her on the tree swing, and then kneeled down on one knee and flipped the seat over. She was off the seat at that time, of course. And "Will you marry me?" And she said yes. So there's a nice story behind the rain tree there. And there's actually a legend of the rain tree beyond our rain tree, is that the legend of the rain tree is whoever finds the rain tree has found the secret of happiness in life. And so I think Jeff found it as he proposed and under the rain tree. So come on down and hang out under the rain tree. We're gonna hang some more tree swings. So this home here is owned by a really nice couple from Sedona, Arizona. Donald, there's a nice story there. Donald drove their truck down from Sedona with a trailer with a bunch of his woodworking equipment in it. And he got here before they did. So everything was unloaded and ready for their arrival. And so they have moved down and got settled in, and now have actually purchased a couple of lots next to them so that they can expand their garden. They've got a green thumb and just like to grow things, plant things. And they work closely with Donald and some of our other folks, Dave, our tree guy. And they're going to be working even closer with Donald now, since he's decided as an investment, he wants to buy the lot next to them over here. So we have a number of people that have done that. So Dan and Erba have bought multiple lots. In fact, I think they're up to 9 lots now. Yep. So Donald is now on 2, actually 3 now, right? Yeah. His house and that. And then Jerry has 2 lots here. Now, Jerry is actually a close friend of my family. I mean, he's known me my whole life. He's a little bit older than I am. He was really close friends with my aunt and uncle and grandparents in Minnesota. He found out what I was doing here in Belize. And so we designed this beautiful house together. But unfortunately, Jerry his things have changed for him, and he's going to have to sell his house. So he's offering this beautiful custom villa with just amazing interior finishes. It's just a gorgeous custom home for $389, and then also the lot next door is available for $61,000 additional, and he is even willing to entertain some terms if somebody is interested. He's really such a nice guy. He has adopted a small Belizean family. The young wife passed away from cancer very sadly recently, so it left the husband and a young child. So Jerry's essentially adopted them, and so in order to get some of the his equity out of his house, he's selling the house, and then he's going to build another one and help to raise the family while he can. So it's actually a very Jerry to move on, and there's an opportunity to purchase this beautiful estate here. Tomorrow we're going to do an interior virtual tour. So if anybody is interested in that, please let us know, and then we can include you on the interior virtual tour of Jerry's house. This is the second house that we built. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house ocean for several different home designs that have become the derivative of and are either custom or have become the model. We have our villa model is actually based on the Tortuga, and believe it or not, so is Jerry's house. I mean, you would never guess that those 2 houses are based on the same floor plan. But we obviously did some significant customization for Jerry's house. But still, there's a consistent kind of rhythm that goes from one house to the next within the community. Even our 12-sided house here, dodecagon, Ted and Sylvia were looking for a round house. I convinced them to go with a 12-sided house, so there's some straight lines, but you can imagine the construction crew still were scratching their heads trying to find a right angle, and it gave me a hard time about how I design houses. But in reality, this house really lives beautifully. It flows really nice inside, and it's a gorgeous dodecagon, but with some classical architectural lines in it. So you can see that we can really do a lot of things from, just a typical model home to some modification of a model home, and then even highly custom homes. Along this side of the peninsula, we have other people that have double lots. Sheila and Roland have 2 lots there. Actually, Ted and Sylvia, next to their dodecagon, they have a lot next door. But there is 1 lot available here. And we're going to now take a stop here, Donald, and look at the map. And then we're going to, think we can do some 4-wheeling, Donald?
I'm willing to try it.
You're willing to try?
I
Okay.
don't know if the vehicle wants to, but
Okay. So we made our way from the entrance down the Cottage Lane, took a look at the riverfront there, past the Belita and the homes under construction here, around the peninsula to lot 171 right here. So this is the only river garden lot left. And this is actually from an investor who bought a couple of properties 8 years ago and is now selling one of them in order to fund the construction of his house. I'm just really excited. I've been doing this my whole career, designing, building homes, doing communities, and there is no better flattery or compliment than when you have early investors who are looking at this strictly as an ROI and now have fallen in love with it so much that they want to take their investment and build a house. And one of the houses that was under construction, we passed by earlier, that's exactly what's happening there. It's happened a number of times now. And so with Andre, it's happening again. And we just are so fortunate to have great owners and investors like that, as Leaf with Live and Invest Overseas, Leaf Simon, when I introduced this idea, he said, this isn't your typical investment. You're going to only attract people that really believe in this whole idea of sustainability and self-sufficiency and resilience. So it's going to limit the number of people in your audience. I said, that's fine. That is just fine. It's not like I'm looking for 10,000 people, not 1,000 people. We only have 220 residential lots. And so it was my idea then. I thought, you know what? I think we'll find 220 people that think this is a cool idea. And we are well over halfway there. And not just with lot sales, but building houses now. And so this lot right here is just a fantastic lot, 171. It starts right here. There's some markers. You see some little CDs, little compact discs on top. This is what Elisa, our marketing director who does the drone work, she put those on there so that when she does the drone photography, she can see the corner markers. So this is the entrance to lot 171. And then it goes from here back to the river. And once Donald gets back there, I'll jump out and we can take a look at the riverfront, so you can see what a great view you have with the river. You see the trees up there moving. I mean, we have breeze, I'd say 90% of the time, and it's just wonderful. And the Belize motto on their flag is Sub Umbra Florio, which means under the shade we flourish. And sure enough, you get out here and the nice sunny day. But it can start to get warm, and if you get into the shade with this nice breeze that we have, wow, it's 20 degrees cooler. So we have this nice shady riverfront, and like I said, the breeze, you can see the trees moving in there. We have an area here that was cleared out that is right next to lot 171. So I'm going to go over here where you can see it a little bit better. We have a standing policy that you not clear anything that basically that you can put your fingers around. You get your hand, and if you can do it, then that tree needs to stay. But you can certainly underbrush. A lot of the small stuff can come down. But look at this view here. You have a nice long view of the river. There's an island there, so you see the beginning of the island goes around one way, and then also to the other side. So positioning your house here on lot 171 will give you a spectacular, nice view of the river, as well as the thing that people over here really like is the design can be done in such a way where on the west side, the sun sets over there, of course. So the house will block the sun as it sets at this time in the afternoon. And so you can see the shadows of the trees. On the riverside, you'll have your porch, which will be in the shade, looking out over the river, and the breeze is coming this way as well. So the sub umbra florio, under the shade, you flourish on your porch, looking over the river. This is a great lot, and it's the only river garden lot available at this time. We had one River Village lot available right up here, lot 167, but it is reserved. We had a discovery tour just a few weeks ago, and one of our attendees, she reserved it to give herself a little due diligence time. And so in the next week, she'll be making her decision to go forward. So far, she's been in touch with Kristen, and it's all a go. But in the event she decides for whatever reason, I mean, everybody, life changes, things happen. Then 167 would be the only River Village lot that we have available. And you can't always do a backup contract, just like I said, in the event that things don't work out for Jane. So Donald, let's go over there towards the roundabout at Scout Park, and we'll get back on the main road there. Yeah. So here's another home that's under construction. It's a fully custom home that was designed with Chris and Diana. They own Sunshine Property Management, which is a company that does our, as the name implies, property management, rental management, as well as they have the construction company. So of the 8 homes under construction, 5 of them are with Sunshine Property Management. And they made a really great lot selection here with their own Raintree. In 2018, we had a great tour. A number of people on the tour. Actually, everybody on the tour bought something, but Chris and Diana came running to the office, and we found our lot. And they took me out here. We stood under the Raintree. I'm like, oh, I think I really underpriced this one. They said, nope, too late. I got it. So we still have to continue to find that as the trees grow and mature more and more. It like changes from just the year or 2 years prior, and I keep getting this new perspective of these beautiful lots that we have here. This is on what we call the river estate lots. If you have seen the map, you see we have the different categories. There are green lots and there are river lots, and within that there are the garden, village, and estate. And so we're now going along where the river estate lots are, and we have 2 of those available here, 157 and 158. And so we're going to go over there and do a little more 4-wheeling, although we can do it with 2 wheels. Well, you need all 4 wheels, but just engage 2 of them. And I'm sorry, I had the phone hanging out there, and I don't know if I lost anybody because sometimes I forget the wind will affect that. But what I was just saying is that we're coming up to lots 157 and 158, which are river estate lots. And okay, Donald, if you'll stop here, this is a good spot for me to point out that there's a rebar here. That's a marker for one side of 158. And then up there's the other side, and then 157 goes beyond that. 158 has these, so you kind of know where the lot is. It has these 2 trees right here towards the front of the lot. And then Donald, we could go right down this line to the riverfront, and then take a look at the view.
The least bit bumpy, smooth as
Yeah. And so with 158, also something to consider is this tree right here will provide shade. I mean, you can see how it's shading. It's on 159, but it provides shade for 158, which is pretty cool. And, these are the kind of trees that are not allowed to be cut down. There's a small tree there that could come down, and this is a perfect spot for the house right here. And the owners actually have 2 lots here. So they've got plenty of room to position their home and leave the beautiful trees. Okay, I'm gonna go do a little hiking. Yeah. Okay, so and a lot of this is what we call low bush and can be cleared. And here's an area like Chris and Diana have gone and cleared, all of this thorny bamboo on there. So now at just above river level is kind of like a nice natural terrace. And they built some earthen steps going down. Other folks along the river have built decks and docks and stairs. So you can do all of that. And it has a nice view over the river. You see where the canoes are across there. That's the entrance to the other side of the island over there. And the view from here, you can see, again, it's a really nice river view. The breezes coming across. We position, we design and position the houses always with the solar and wind orientation in mind. So in this case, you'd want to be able to catch the breezes. Again, you can, if you're here, you could feel it, but you can certainly see the trees, moving and the wind coming through. It's really refreshing. Okay, so let's go. We can actually head over to where the River Club is planned. So this is, now we're on 157 on the map. And here it is. Okay, Donald has it there. So again, orientation, here's 157 and 158. And now we're going to go to this area. The brown lots on the map all represent like retail lots. So mom and pop shops on the town square, and then community center. And then here is what we're right now, just the kind of the working title is the River Club. And this is something that has been in the works for a number of years. We had it at a different location at one time, but this is really the most appropriate location here. And what we're going to be doing is building some detached and attached units. The owner of 171, I mentioned, he's invested a long time ago and ready to sell his lot so that he can build. And he's going to be the first one to build here in the River Club. And there will also be restaurants, and there'll be a small pool. So we'll be able to overlook the river with a nice restaurant and a deck and steps that go down towards the river. So this will be a nice hub of activity and kind of like a boutique resort area. We're really anxious to get that going and feel like the timing is right now with just how much growth we have and need for more rentals. We really have a demand for rentals, short-term and long-term. And we really haven't even advertised, to kind of ramp up for tourism and, excursions or anything like that. It's just pretty much been our, internal folks that are, owners coming down that either visit, they're maybe not quite ready to build yet, they're kind of thinking about it, or they're in the process of designing their home, or their home is under construction. We just get a lot of people that come down that are owners and keep our rentals occupied. But we're getting ready to start really kind of, promoting, more of a destination, not to be real touristy, but to just introduce more people, to have people that come down and, enjoy the Maya ruins, enjoy the river, and just become, more of the kind of our extended family, if you will. And we really love to welcome people to Carmelita and to Belize and introduce them to Belize. Here's another home under construction. This is a villa on the riverfront, beautiful lot here. This is lot 153. The owner, again, he was one of our very first investors, and he's decided now that he wants to take the return on investment and invest it into his own home. And his is, again, a sort of a derivative of the villa model, which was a derivative of the Tortuga. So this house is well underway, and it's just looking great. Really, really excited for Mark. He's just another great salt of the earth guy who's been with us from really the beginning. He was, again, one of the very first investors, and now he's building his home. So I'd love to see that. So here's a home. There's a little story behind this one. This was the fourth home that we designed and began construction on. It's an octagon shaped 3-story house with an observation deck up top. But unfortunately, the gentleman that we were building it for passed away, and it took a little while for us to find a buyer because it was so unique. But we did find a buyer, and now we're going to be able to go in and kind of finally finish it off. And we're really looking forward to it because it's just a gorgeous building that's just unfinished. It needs stuff on the outside, but in the inside and the airflow and all is just, it's amazing. So the locals refer to it as the castle. I guess, it looks like a castle to them. And so when this was a farm and there were cattle here, there are some river access points. We'll go over it that way, Donald, that the farmer had put in, and they were cattle cuts to get so the cattle could get down to the river and the horses could get down there. And so now this is referred to as the castle cut. And what we're going to be doing is like the other river access, we're going to excavate this down so that it's really going to be easy to walk, to pedal a bicycle down, to drive a car, and launch canoes, and go down there and go fishing. But right now it's a little bit steeper and a little harder to get up and down, but we're going to fix that. And so you can see this is a nice little section of the river here as well. And it's the other side of the island. If you remember, I was pointing out when we were at lot 171, 157, and 158, looking at the island. And then this is over here at the castle cut. And there's the end of the island there. And so this continues to flow down out to the Caribbean Sea. So like I said, we're going to be going here and we're going to excavate this so that there will be a nice, easy access down to the river. And when I get back, I'm going to show you on the map. We have these one lot now available, lot 136 there, that if the house is positioned right, and when this is excavated down, I believe you'd be able to actually get a view of the river. And I think it'd be in fact, I'm going to get Elise to get her drone up there to take a look at that. But I think it would be the only, 136 right here. Yeah, like the only second tier property that actually has a view of the river. It's really only otherwise riverfront would have the view. But again, in keeping with a traditional town, I was really intent on making sure that we truly are a riverside community, not just certain properties have access to the river. We have 5 different river access points along the community, so it really is a riverside community, and everybody can enjoy the river. And I learned that lesson in Florida years ago when I was doing designing, building, and developing, and it always bothered me in these little beach communities where nobody else could get access to the beach. Condos or houses, and it's like, okay, we've secured the beach and nobody else can be there. So I just was really intent to make sure that our riverside community, everybody has access to the river. So now Donald's going to go up here. He's going to take a right, and we go back. We're right over here, and so we're going to come down this side. And we have another home under construction here. Really, just a. I know it sounds like I keep overusing this term, just salt of the earth, but these folks are all just so nice, and they, are retired professionals, everything from nurses, teachers, engineers, linguists, business folks. Donald. I mean, just the kind of folks you like to have as neighbors. And over here, the neighbors are corn.
Right.
and sometimes beans. So those make good neighbors too. They don't make a lot of noise. I guess only when the corn is ready is it noisy, because then you get some parrots that come in, but people love parrots. So that's only around harvest time. But this property here is owned, this is lot, what would be 138. It has a golden shovel on it. And this is the Sandy's property here. And Sandy, you know, another heartwarming story. She and her husband Dave came down a year ago and just fell in love with Carmelita and the folks here and picked out their property. And then sadly, Dave was diagnosed with cancer, and it didn't take long before he passed. And Sandy wasn't sure, you know, what she was going to do, but she said, Phil, I'm going to come down and I'll know when I get there. When, you know, I've got my feet on the ground, I'll know. And so before she came, she stopped in Texas to visit her children. And they told her, you know, Mom, it's been said that you should not make any major decision until a year after, you know, a traumatic event like Dave's passing. And so we think that you shouldn't make any major decision. And so since you and Dave already decided to move to Carmelita, it would be a major decision if you didn't do it. So you should do it. And she came down, and when she said that when she got a rent-a-car, when she rolled into Carmelita, she just knew. She got goosebumps and tears and said, this is it. And so now we're so excited that we're building Sandy's home for her. And she's going to be here in August and go do some shopping, pick out her tiles and, you know, different things like that. And then go back and pack up her final stuff and then move here. But prior to the home being finished, she'll rent. And then when it's done, we'll have a wonderful housewarming party for Sandy. And maybe some of y'all will be down here then. So love it if you would. So we're coming around the bend here, and we're going to now go towards the Maya Mound Park. And that's a nice, you know, unique feature in a community. I hear of, you know, golf course communities and seafront community, all those different things. But we actually do have a genuine Maya Mound Park here. And we found this way right here. We found different pottery shards there. In fact, when my son was working for me, he worked for me for a couple of years down here doing, helping with sales and graphic artist stuff, website things, and he did a great job. But he used to go over and kick around on these mounds, and he would just find pottery shards just right below the surface. And he found 3 pieces one time. They all had scroll work and they all fit together. So this has become very popular. You see, there are not many properties left. There's lot 41 here, and then 44 and 45 up here across from the mounds. But we have a nice little canopy road here, and then a forested park area. And so the idea is that we'll be doing a little excavation here. When I was planning the park and planning Carmelita, I talked to the director of archaeology at the time, Dr. Jaime Awe, and asked him if we could do this. I set it aside in the park, could we excavate? And he said, Phil, anytime, just let the department know, and we will send a team, maybe, you know, some students and a professor, and they can show you how to grid off the site and do a proper excavation. And so now we have a new owner that will be. We did a golden shovel for Matt and Rhonda, and Matt is the retiring professor. And he's already sent me a nice proposal for what he would like to do with the educational functions and the different things with the Maya Mounds. So we're, again, excited to have folks who are contributing to the community, not just the Carmelita community, but the community at large. So from Santa Familia, about a lot of them, their ancestors, actually, that surprisingly, a lot of them don't know a lot about the history of the Maya. So now we're coming around over here. You can see where the golden shovel is there. And that actually represents this home, which is first of its kind. And I say first of its kind, not necessarily the design, not necessarily the construction technique, but the approach that the owner took. This was an investment for him. He bought 3 lots in a row, and he also bought a riverfront lot for himself. But these 3 were as an investment, and the idea was that he would build the shell of a house, that somebody could then come in and choose their own tile, choose their own color, choose their own cabinets, just really everything. Even the windows are kind of temporary. I mean, they're nice louvered windows, which could be kept, or they could be swapped out if somebody wanted casement windows or double hung or something else. And so the home was completed just a few weeks ago, and we started showcasing it in our virtual tours. The white paint that you see is actually a primer. There's 2 coats of primer with mildew inhibitor. So it's great paint. And then you can put 2 coats of a colored paint with the mildew inhibitor on. That's our standard for all of our houses. But this has already been purchased. We just, from a virtual tour that we did, was it Donald, 2 weeks ago, week and a half? At the most, maybe a week and a half ago. Yeah, they moved quickly. Yes, they purchased a Mound Park lot, and they're going to build a villa there. And they were planning to come down and rent. And they said, oh, well, wait, we could make an investment. We're going to buy this house. We're going to live in it. And they're actually looking at doing a little 1-room addition to it. And then when their house is finished, they just move right down the road here to their Mound Park house. And then they can rent this one out. I'm going to go in and show you from the inside what it's
How much are they asking for that?
The owner now, based on the success of this one, is going to roll the revenue from this into the next one. And it takes about 2 months to get it to this stage here. And you see what the building crew did, which I thought was a really smart thing, is where the wainscoting is, right at the chair rail height there. They stopped doing the plaster. And so what they did is they left it, and you can see the construction material here. What the brand name is Coventech. It's an insulated concrete form. So it has foam insulation, the welded wire mesh, and then they put the concrete on top of it, and then they'll come in and do the finish coat and the painting. But they left it there. So whatever the buyer decided they wanted to do with the floor plan, do they want to stick with the standard cottage plan where there's a bathroom there, the kitchen over here, and then there's a wall for the bedroom over there? Or did they want to do something different? By leaving it exposed, it's really easy to go and put in the conduit, put in the piping and all of that, and then finish off the house. So what the new owners of the home are considering is to put the bathroom here, and then this window will become a door to go out to another room. So there'll be another bedroom there, and then the bathroom, which would have the toilet and shower here, and then the sink, lavatory over there as well. And there'd be a little hallway to that room. And then over here would be another bedroom, but they're thinking about just kind of leaving it open. And it could be like a futon or even, a permanent, like day bed or something. And then we're also going to switch the door and window here. So that's the nice thing about this construction tech. Put it in over here, put the window there, and put the door there. And then they're looking at the kitchen over here, sort of an L-shaped kitchen. Haven't decided whether they want to do a loft or not, but we did do a little extra knee wall height there. So a loft could go up there as well. And the total price for this with the lot and the house as is right now was $99,000. And then the range for finishing it off, again, it just depends on how finished you want it. I mean, do you just want to put the bathroom and just leave and then the kitchen and leave everything else open, which is an option? Or do you want to go, full on with a loft and, now they're talking about doing an addition to it, but anywhere from 25 to 50,000 finishes it off. So if you just did the basic 99,000, which includes the $39,000 lot, the house, and then another 25 to put in the solar and do the basic finishing, you're into the house for, under 130. And then if you really, like I said, wanted to finish it off beyond that, you could get to like 150 and have just a beautiful home. The, like I said, the construction crew just finished up and now we've already sold it. So they're getting ready to move on to the next one. But this little grouping of trees right here is the edge of this property. And then it goes to the next one. So there's a really nice side yard here. And then there's also a good size side yard over on this side as well. It's kind of hard to see, but we have a little drainage area that we did right there. So that's the edge. So it's about 30 feet of side yard over here. And then this is actually the farm on the other side. I was talking about the corn and the beans. You kind of see through the trees there where they've got the corn planted. But here's a mound. And I believe that this is must be part of the Maya mound structure because of its proximity to the main mound over there. So this is a neat little area right here. And again, the idea here with the just kind of building the shell and selling it, that provides an opportunity for somebody to kind of make a quick move, because to finish this off, to make it operational with power and water, the septic and livable, would take about 8 weeks. So by the time somebody, the contract funded it, packed up their bags, so it got down here, the house could be finished. So that really takes us here, close to the entrance where we started. And so what Donald's going to do is he's going to take us around the town square again, and we're going to go to our office over there at the Cottage Uno, and we'll open it up for Q&A. I noticed that Kristen she joined us, which is great. So Kristen, glad you're here. Maybe you can help kind of moderate with the chat line. I guess before we just like everybody open up the mic at the same time. Sure. Maybe just raise a hand. There's a button there. Kristen, if you could explain that. And then we could kind of take the questions. You can either type them in to the chat or raise your hand if you want to open up your mic and ask the question that way.
Yes, I can do that. I'll keep the chat window open so I can see questions that are coming in. And then as they're driving back, it looks like we might have a little bit of spotty signal at the moment. So as Phil and Donald are getting settled, I can just explain a little bit. Most folks are familiar with Zoom, but if you're not, if you hover over the screen, or if you're on a touchpad, you touch the screen, and along the bottom, you should see like a little microphone pop up. If you're not muted, it would help to keep muted, so we've got some background noise kind of closed off. And then if you want to come on video when you ask your questions, we'd love to see your faces. You can turn on the video with the little video icon, and then you'll see along the bottom some reactions. If you click on reactions, there's a little raise hand sign. You can click on that if you have questions to pop in, unless you want to do them in the chat. And then there's a little chat icon for, like a text message icon. You can pop in there, and just make sure when you post your question, you post to everyone so that we're all able to see that. So Phil, as you and Donald are hopping in, we already have questions about taxes and monthly expenses. There's also a question about how far from a town or a beach and what airport do you fly into to get there? So I can address the second part of that question real quick. So the airport that you would fly into is the Philip Goldson International Airport. The airport code for that is BZE. That's the international airport. It is about an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, depending on who's driving, to get you to the Belize airport from Carmelita and vice versa. And then to go to the beach. Phil, how long do you think it takes to get to, say, Hopkins or Placencia? I know Placencia is a little further south, so Hopkins is a little closer. I enjoy vacationing there for beach time, but how long do you think?
I'm gonna answer that right after we all say goodbye to Donald. He's gonna walk home.
Bye,
I guess
Donald.
we didn't go inside your house. Okay, maybe
Based on the texting, that's why I'm running home.
So
it'll be better if you want to come down.
come later. Oh, okay. He's gonna go.
Donald's got to clean laundry up off the floor, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he said that they were packing for Key Calker for Lobster Fest, so he's got like everything.
Big
okay,
Lobster Fest weekend. That's right.
Yeah, so maybe we can go there later. But right now we'll just do the Q&A. So the distance from Carmelita, or the drive time, I guess I should say, from Carmelita to like Hopkins, Placencia is about 2.5 hours. I think, is a good time. Usually give yourself a range, 2.5 to 3 hours, because a lot of the Hummingbird Highway, it's difficult to pass. So if you get behind a slow moving vehicle, a truck or something like that, it could add 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes even to the drive. But 2.5 to 3 hours, I think, is a good time.
Okay. Now the other question was, how are taxes and monthly expenses? Property taxes are just outrageous. So I'll let Phil cover those.
Favorite question to answer. They're all of 10 Belize per year, which is 5 US. So that's great. I love, like I said, I love to answer that question. But the kind of the flip side of that is that property taxes, most municipalities in North America that US Canadian citizens are used to, they property taxes fund municipal services, the millage rates, things like that, whether it's schools, roads, things like that. So you get everything that $5 will pay for, support from the government. But the thing about our community, we attract kind of the same ilk of people that are like, you know what, just charge me $5. It's fine. We'll take care of ourselves, rather than charging us thousands. I mean, I know some property taxes in some areas in the US are thousands and thousands of dollars per year. But Carmelita, we like to say, okay, well, keep our taxes low. We'll take care of it ourselves. And so what we're getting ready to do, as Kristen's helping me with this, is our community maintenance fund. We don't have an HOA per se. But we do need to fund maintaining the roads and our parks and our green spaces. And as we have more facilities, we're going to, need to maintain and staff those. And so that's what the community maintenance fund is for. And we're not, nobody is into the HOA. When I designed Carmelita, I was like, I have no HOA. I don't want an HOA. I mean, because, I'm a resident here too. And one day I'm no longer going to be the developer, but I'll still be a resident. And I don't want to have an HOA. And I'm expecting a lot of other people don't want that. And sure enough, everybody that we talk to, no HOA. But everybody recognizes the government's not going to come in and, maintain our roads or our parks or our riverfront or anything. And so that's what we do.
Yeah, and you might have been able to tell while Phil was hosting the tour, and you probably mentioned it too, Phil, I had to hop on late, but the roads have all been completely redone, and they're in great shape to cover us probably for about the next decade, Phil, and really allow us just to do some light maintenance to keep them up to par. And really, it was important to get the drainage. And one of the big projects that we're hoping to get moving on relatively quickly is getting fiber optics installed in the community. So that's one of the bigger ticket items that the community maintenance fund is going to help get this infrastructure in place for folks like myself who and other people who are moving into the community, want to work from home, need reliable high-speed internet. So that's just an example. Did you have anything else to add there, Phil, before I move on to the next question?
Well, yeah, I think it's important to mention to folks about how much the CMF is expected to be. I was actually running some numbers today. Got numbers from Chris about doing the bush hogging and weed whacking and all of that. Still need some numbers from the garden group, but based on the historical information we have, it looks like we are going to be able to start off under $500 per year for the CMF maintaining what we have right now. But as you mentioned, the fiber optic, that's about $500 one-time fee for the fiber optic. That was never contemplated in the original development plan, and it wasn't even available. Fiber optic wasn't available. Now it's just up the road in the village. And so one of our owners, Frank, he's taking a really active role in working with BTL, getting the quote, getting the technicians out here. And it looks like as we prorate across the community, it'll be about a $500 one-time fee. But what's going to happen is as soon as that, now that the roads are done, and there was a huge investment in the roads, like Kristen said, to make them so that they're not going to have to be maintained, really nothing significant for about 10 years. But just small little annual maintenance will be fine. So with that savings now, we can put that into fiber optic. So the first year, we're looking at about just under $1,000 for that, and then it'll drop back. And then every year we'll take a look at the budget and, what new facilities or expenses do we have, and what is the population of the community, because it keeps growing every day. Thank you, Kristen. I keep getting these emails from Kristen. Hey, I sold another lot. Oh, somebody just bought the shell on that. And so it's exciting. The community grows, and then it gives us the opportunity to do more things as a community together, independent together again.
Yeah. Well, that's good news. I mean, this is what happens when I'm moving there probably by September. I don't know if Phil pointed out my house, but it's under construction. And
Good.
so by September, I should be there. And just 2 days ago, we were talking about this, and the expectation for what we'd have for initial community maintenance fund dues was about $900 a month. So the fact that I'm hearing today that it's going to be closer to 500 with the one-time assessment is great, because you're starting at a lower level even than what was contracted in the paperwork I signed for my lot. So that's good news.
Kristen, that investment in the fiber optic too. I want to mention that between the road and the fiber optic investment, we will do a price increase right then. So if you bought now and you get the $500 fiber optic assessment, I'm looking at probably $1,500 is what that it increases the value with the roads and the fiber optic. So immediately I think most people would invest $500 to get $1,500 of value. And so, yeah.
I would agree with that. All right. So the next question is, how is garbage handled, and is there a compost or recycling? So the answer to that one is we have a shared Signal group. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Signal, but all of the residents are part of a group, and we have one coordinator who just reminds us weekly, hey, we've got a garbage pickup one day a week, and they come around and pick up the garbage. Phil mentioned this last time. It's nice to know that the garbage is going to the actual facility and not off to, some raw land somewhere. So the garbage is being disposed of properly. We also have compost on the ground. So we have the gardens that I'm sure Phil pointed out. And the composting is an ongoing education, right? Because not all compost is created equal. So you want to make sure the right things are ending in the right bins. But yes, that can be utilized to help with fertilizing the gardens. Recycling, yes, there is recycling in Belize, and they're actually even getting better with that. Phil, you talked a little bit about that last time, because I live in Belmopon currently, so it looks a little bit different. Maybe you could explain a bit more how that works at Carmelita.
Yeah, so we encourage people to always recycle, and there's the program with the bottles that they do have return deposits, so that helps with the that glass waste as it's recycled by the bottling company. But at the sanitary substation, they actually separate, which I was really surprised when they opened up, which was, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 years ago. They redid all of the sanitation systems throughout the country, and it was ranked as the best sanitation system in Central America. And so at the substation, they actually have people just like hand sorting plastics and glass, and there's a separate place for electronics or for toxic waste, just like most proper facilities you'll find in North America. They are doing that here as well. So they're making an effort, and Belize in general really does try to protect their environment. They see it as, it's a national treasure. For years, they had their Belize Tourism Board motto was Belize, Mother Nature's best kept secret. So they are, like I said, when it comes to preserving the reef, the rainforest, things like that, they do take that seriously.
Yeah, and there's a guy who's not too far from Carmelita. He has a business called Bottle Eaters. So any glass that's not recyclable, I take to him, and what they do is they fly it to Guatemala, crush it down, and turn it into concrete fence posts that are drilled to help, and they have like a lifetime warranty. And when you compare it to the cost of, lumber, which is going up, these wind up being very economical and last longer because you don't have the erosion of the posts as well. So a lot of farmers are buying those. They've been back ordered. So the glass really is two great ways we can use it. Okay, next question is, Manny's asking, can one take a bus from the airport? You can take the bus from the airport, I think, Phil, right into, is there a bus that goes to San Ignacio, but then you'd have to have further transport from San Ignacio back into Carmelita Gardens?
Yeah, it's a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump. So the airport bus service isn't right at the airport. You have to get out to the highway. There's a bus stop there. So once you get there, then yes, you get to San Ignacio, and then you would need to take another bus. But we usually, if somebody gets to the bus to San Ignacio, we always are able to work out transportation out here. We've got enough people that are coming and going that can just schedule their trip in at that time. And that's even happening more and more to the airport, that we have people that are, I didn't, I don't know, Kristen, we were working out something for David for Saturday.
Yeah, we have somebody who is planning to go into Belize City to pick up their wife from the airport. And so it works out that he can catch a ride. Our guest can catch a ride with one of our residents, so he can hop a bus, and he's actually taking a bus back up into Mexico. So the chicken bus from Belize and then onto a bus in Mexico. So it's definitely feasible and it can be done. Okay, next question is from Sally. Oh, sorry, did you have more to add there, Phil?
I just wanted to hold on.
Okay.
Somebody's trying to call me. Let me,
Phil's a popular guy, everybody. You might not have noticed.
I thought I turned off the notification.
Demand.
But yeah, Manny's on the line. I see that. So Manny, don't you worry. Manny's been with us for a very long time, Kristen. I can't wait for you to meet Manny and Ruth. They're great folks, and they have a lot right next to, right by Rich's lot, actually. So
fabulous. Okay.
Peninsula from you.
Okay. So, hello.
Hello, Manny. You just let me know when you're coming down. We'll make sure you're picked up.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the next question, I can address this one because I was just dealing with a little bit of this from Sally, is how about medical care? So there is a broad range of medical care. My daughter last night was complaining about a sore throat, sore ears, the whole bit. So I took her into a clinic called Shining Star, which is in Spanish Lookout, only 7 miles from Carmelita Gardens. They were able to get her in today. I called this morning. We were there for about an hour and a half, and they did an ozone treatment to help with the blockage in her ears and the throat. They gave her a patch for some swollen glands on her chin. They gave her some liposomal vitamin C and all sorts of good stuff to really boost the immune system. And the time and all of the supplements that we got to help work with her was about $100 US. We also, for the same daughter, had to have a trip to the ER last year. She stumbled on a horse, and we thought she might have some internal bleeding. And long story short, we spent about 4 hours at the ER. She had a brief ambulance ride to another hospital to get an x-ray and an ultrasound, and we walked out not spending more than $200 US for the whole thing. So healthcare, whether you're looking at a natural route or you want to go more of the Western route, tends to be very economical. There are international healthcare plans that you can use in Belize. I have one for me and my family. I've honestly never used it. Even with the emergency room visit, didn't need to use it at all. So medical care, I think in Belize is pretty solid. And if there's something that they cannot, is beyond their scope of expertise, they will let you know. They're not gonna try to, fumble through it. They tend to be pretty good about letting you know, well, this isn't something we have experience with, organ transplant or something like that. They'll be clear. Phil, do you have anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I think it's important. What you said, I agree with. And I just try to keep it in perspective for folks when, you think about things like that, organ transplant, or the best oncologists, whatever. Most people in the United States and Canada don't live right by that clinic. They have to go to that clinic. And so if you want to go to MD Anderson and you live in Maine, you actually have to travel farther than if you lived in Belize. So, you kind of keep that in mind, that you go to specialists. You can go to Merida, Mexico. It's got some really great specialists there. But if you need to go back to, North America, hop on a flight, 2 hours, you're in Houston. So just kind of keep that in mind, that like Kristen said, if they can't do it, they will tell you and say, okay, you need to go to this place, and could very well be the same thing where you live now.
Yeah. And I would add, my ex-husband, who I was able to convince to move down here with us. Yay, I'm glad he came. The kids love it, by the way. He is employed in the US. And so he has an insurance policy through the company that he works for in the US with no coverage down here. So what he did is he bought an emergency medical evac plan. So if he needs something, he can get to the United States and then hop into a facility there. So there's ways to, if you're retired and you're on Medicare, you can keep your Medicare, and maybe just get an evac plan. He's paying, he bought a 3-year plan. I think it was $700 US a year, which is a lot more economical. So you can pursue options. Okay, next question from Charlene and Steve. Hi, Charlene and Steve. Nice to see you on here. What their question is, I think, were you coming off mute? Oh, there they are. Hello. We've been going back and forth a lot since yesterday. Okay, so their question is, if you're building new, what type of appliance package comes with the house? They're asking about electric, propane. So we'll take these one at a time, Phil. Why don't we start with the type of appliance package and we'll run down from there.
Okay, so the basic appliances are part of the construction, what we call the BOQ, the bill of quantities. So it would be a stove, a refrigerator, and then also you would be a water heater. Now, microwaves, dishwashers, things like that, that's up to the individual. We have a number of people that don't require dishwashers, but if you have 3 children, you might. I don't know, right? And then the level of the appliances, you can go to, there's a place in Belize City called Marab, and you can get the GE appliances. There are other, it keeps to increasing the choices. When I first came to Belize almost 20 years ago, I was working on a project in Corozal. It was really hard to find any decent appliances and electronics. So again, the basic package are the stove and refrigerator, and then your water heater, if you consider that an appliance. Air conditioning for the off-grid package. We do it all the time, but it does require a little upgrade of the solar system to handle the additional electrical requirement, but is also the case if you want other things. So what we like to do with Louise, the designer, I mentioned that she will talk to you some about your electrical consumption, what it is now, but more importantly, what you intended it to be. So using a gas stove instead of an electric stove. But some people here, they want a convection oven. Okay, you can have that, but it requires a lot of extra electricity. So you need to size your system. And we have a great solar supplier that we work with closely so that we can go through and kind of audit that electrical requirement and then custom design the system for each individual.
Yeah, it's I just went through that process myself, and they're very helpful. So they asked also about electric and propane. Belize actually runs on butane, and the way butane works is once you have it all set up, there's actually a company that comes out and, with our little signal group, somebody will say, hey, I'm getting a top up on my butane. Who else needs it? And everybody will pile into the signal app and say, send them over to my house. We're ready for a top up, which works out real great. They ask, outside of the cottages, is a washer dryer included? Washer and dryer, I bought mine separate. I don't remember if that's part of the package, Phil.
No, we do the allowance for that. So some people will go ahead and get a higher end washer and dryer. Some folks just do the washer and then have a clothesline. They like the air dried clothes. So those are the kind of things that during the design process we discuss. And as you're designing your home, depending on what it is, it's a little cottage, and you just have a closet big enough for a dryer or a stackable washer and dryer, or you just, like I said, just do the washer maybe and then the clothesline, or like your home, you've got plenty of room for a nice set of washer and dryer, and your requirements are different than other people. You have 3 children, so you've got more
And mine are
clothes.
divas. They don't like line dried clothes sometimes.
Yeah. So a lot of these questions will be kind of answered the same way, and it just depends on what your needs are, and we can do it. There's nothing special or restrictive about being off grid, about the architecture, about the materials and the methods that we use. This is something that I've been doing for nearly 40 years. The first 20 years of my career were in Florida, building houses during the boom in the 2000s, additions, remodels, production homes, custom homes, coastal homes. And so what I'm doing now, it feels the same. We design homes, but it's all off grid. And now we have been doing this long enough that we know how to size the systems to accommodate whatever your lifestyle, your budget, your appliances, electrical needs are.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Phil. We might want to try to tighten up our responses, me included. We've got about 10 questions in the queue. One of the follow-on questions here was, what size are the propane tanks? You don't generally, I mean, they seem pretty standard. I don't know the size, but because we have regularly trucks coming through to top off, it generally isn't an issue. Phil, do you know what the standard size for the butane tanks are?
Yeah, again, it depends on, with the cottages, they have small ones. I think they might be 20 gallons, something like that. But then the bigger the bungalows and the villa homes will have maybe 80 gallons. But that also is sized now, because what's happened with the technology with the solar is that the lithium batteries now are smart batteries. So the storage capacity that we have, and the ability for the batteries to go all the way down and back up quickly again, means that people are starting to now just not have generators, and the generators run on the butane. But now if you don't need that, well, then you don't need to store as much gas anymore. So the tank can be smaller. So some of these things are just now, changing, evolving from previous systems that we had. And again, we'll take a look at that and make sure that everything is sized the right way. Sorry for the longer answer.
That's okay. No, that's what I wound up doing with mine. I wanted more, with my divas, wanted more air conditioning. So we've, decided to forego the generator and went with an additional AC unit. So what type of veggies grow? That Carla is asking, what kind of vegetables grow? Will kale and other greens grow, as well as cruciferous vegetables? Yes, Phil, I'll let you continue with that. We have loads of kale right now.
Yeah. So what I think it's probably easier to answer the things that don't grow as well. So things that, in a temperate climate require some, cold snap, some dormancy, things like that, like apples, like Harry and Jackie with their apple orchard in Minnesota. They're not going to be growing those apples here. But obviously all the tropical fruits, produce, gosh, I'm like I said, asparagus probably wouldn't do well here. So it's kind of the things like that will grow in a temperate climate or require some kind of dormancy, or if the soil is too hot, that which is a problem for certain plants. But we can connect you with our gardeners. I'm not a gardener. I'm passionate about the vision that we need to know where our food is coming from and what's in our food. We need to be as self-sufficient and resilient as possible. So being here with arable land, I'm fortunate that we have many people that are knowledgeable and passionate about it. So I follow my passion and they follow theirs. And Carla, if you want to be part of that, it would be great. And we can introduce you to the folks who are doing that.
Awesome. And she had a follow-up question, which is, can you fence your property?
Yes, we like it. Again, there's a certain kind of public realm that we like to kind of maintain with the, the architecture and the, outbuildings, fencing, things like that. So fencing it is fine. We have people that have done that. What we try to avoid is, like chain link fences or something that that doesn't have sort of an architectural appeal, that a rhythm with the property and the architecture around it. Natural fencing is really nice. We encourage that, doing, bushes and vines, and bougainvillea grows great here. So you're able to do that with some, trellises and things like that. And it helps to do the trans evaporation, keeps things cooler. It can be used for shade. We've got a couple of people at their cottages where they've run like monofilament line down, and the vines are growing up. Kristen, I don't know if you've seen Vern's bougainvillea, but it's created a nice shady porch for him now.
I'll look tomorrow when I come out. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so Charlene and Steve are asking who funds the, sorry. Manny had a question about whether or not the roads were going to be paved. I don't think they need to be. That's not the plan currently with all the road work that was just done. Driving on Carmelita's roads is like a dream. It's super smooth. It's easy to get around. They went over it, like once the rains came, it really compacted things and you don't even have a lot of dust now. So Phil, I'll let you add on there.
Yeah, so the original owner of the Carmelita property, it was a farm. And so Dan Silva, he and I became fast friends way before the Carmelita days. I met him as one of the first people I met. He's the former Minister of Agriculture. He spent 30 years in government. I ended up buying 100% of Carmelita some years ago, but he and I still remain really close friends. He comes out all the time. And he drove on these roads and he came out, he's got this big smile. He goes, Phil, this is better than any government road. This is great. This is amazing, And so I think that, they're good the way they are. But what I do see, Manny, is perhaps in the future, as we have more traffic around the village square, the town is there, businesses there, that we might go in with some pavers there, so that it's not totally impervious surface, that there still can be drainage and all. But I think really from a traffic engineering standpoint, that's going to be the only area that would have enough traffic that to me would justify that additional expense. But it was never budgeted for in the original thing, like the fiber optics. So if the time comes that that's desired by the community, then that's something the community will decide, and there'll be a special assessment for that. And it may be restricted more to the merchants, just, in that area, because that would be what's impacting it, and not all of the residents. So we'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. But right now we've got really good roads, and it's up to above the standard that was ever promised or, expected from the beginning.
Yeah, it's really nice to drive on right now. Okay, so Charlene and Steve were asking, who funds the cost to plant the community garden? Do residents pay to get the produce from the community garden?
Okay, so how it started was from the very beginning. We started to plant our orchard, a lot of fruit trees, which take longer than produce garden. And so then, as the developer, I hired a gardener. He came in. He started our first garden. Started to do some raised beds. Then we brought on some volunteers, especially during some of the leaner years, during just leading up to COVID and right after COVID. And now the community. We have volunteers from within the community that come in and they help out. We do have a full-time gardener that is paid, has been paid. Everything has been paid by the development. And my developer colleagues think I'm crazy that I've been doing this for 10 years and never collected a dime. But it's time. And I wanted to wait until we had a community and people that could contribute. And so it's time now. And the way that it will work is that the garden is meant to be able to, at some point, sustain itself through sales, to within the community and outside of the community as well. We have enough arable land that the yield calculations show that we can grow a surplus of food for ourselves, and then the village and the market in San Ignacio. But we're just getting things going, and we're growing more and more. And right now we have the market every Monday, and so people from the community come out and they purchase their produce from the organic garden, and the development has been subsidizing some for the gardener, and that is part of the community maintenance fund. Will be part of making sure that we always have a garden, it's functioning, and it's provided for. The goal is as soon as possible to get it to just pay for itself completely, and that's why each year the budget will be re-examined to see what we need.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. And the lettuce from those gardens and the kale is phenomenal. It's so great to know that I'm eating and feeding my kids organic greens. It's great. Rick is asking about financing options, and the short answer on that, and I can send you more details too, Rick, is you can finance lots currently, not the build of the structure on the lots. So the way that the financing works on the lots is that it's 25% down payment, along with 10% closing costs on the lot. And then the remaining payments, the remaining 75% of the remaining portion is paid over a period of 3 years in equal installment payments monthly. So if you use, say, $40,000 just for easy numbers, your initial down payment would be $10,000 plus $4,000 in closing costs, that 10%, and then the remaining $30,000 would be paid over those next 3 years. Now, I think Phil is rather generous as the developer, and that there's no interest rate or APR attached to the financing of that lot. What the financing option loses, if you will, is a 5% discount for fully cash paid lots. And that 5%, if you were to amortize that, comes out to about 1.7%. And I'm pretty confident most mortgages in the States aren't anywhere close to that right now. So, and any lump sum payment you make for remaining payments, get the 5% discount. So if you pay and you've got 25,000 left on the payments, you come in with a lump sum payment, you get the 5% discount on those remaining payments. So I know it sounds a little bit wonky. Hopefully that answer was clear enough to, Rick's nodding his head, and I can send you a little bit more information. Hi, nice to see you guys. Thanks for joining. So that's financing. I don't know if you need to add anything else there, Phil.
No, but I love the way you put it. I've always been more of a carrot than a stick guy, so here's a reward for doing cash, not a punishment for financing. So interest-free, but hey, if you pay cash, great. Thank you. And you get 5% discount.
Okay, thank you, Phil. It's my 9-year-old that was at the clinic asking about some of the supplements she needs to take. Multitasking. Okay. Charlene and Steve are asking about mail service, getting packages like Amazon. I love answering this question. So mail service, if I understand it correctly, I haven't used the postal service here much. You have to go into the post office to send and receive packages. I hear that it's pretty reliable. I haven't used it much. There are third-party shippers that go, if you're from the States and you can ship through the States, bank account there, use Amazon. We send packages through 2 different third-party shippers who then forward on the packages to Belize. And there's a couple different pickup points. There's one in Spanish Lookout, which is only 7 miles away, through Aero Freight. They're great. And then there's another one called C&J Enterprises that will ship things through. And we've kind of gotten familiar with what we want to ship with what shipper, what's going to make more sense. So those are the 2 primary ones. And I've heard that there are others. So it's not hard to get Amazon. Just keep in mind that there are duties on pretty much everything that comes into Belize. So you want to be mindful of duties that you're going to pay as those come down, along with the shipping costs, which are going up. Because of what we're dealing with increased fuel prices and shipping constraints. Anything else to add there, Phil?
No, that's good. You covered it. That's yeah. I'm not a big Amazon. I'm not a big shopper, so I'm glad you can answer that question.
Yeah, I don't really like to use Amazon. I like to ship through Thrive Market when I want my organic packaged goods, so there's a few things I go at different places, but every once in a while Amazon comes in a clinch. Okay, Sally had a question. Sally, would you mind posting in the chat or even maybe coming off microphone and let me know what you mean by your question of $1,500 per year? I wasn't familiar, or I'm not understanding that. I'd like to be able to address that.
I think I maybe understood when I was asking about the fees. And you were saying that you don't have an HOA, but you have this other fee that's $500 a year, then something about $1,000 a year or something like the fiber optic. So I was a little confused about like what that meant. What like was that a yearly fee of $1,500 like on approximately like for expenses? That's all.
Yeah. So, sorry. Go ahead, Phil.
I was saying, I think what Sally, what I mentioned was the 1,500 that I mentioned was the increase in value of the property with the road work and the fiber optic. So where we are right now, say a $39,000 garden lot, green garden lot, once the fiber optic is in, and now that the road is done, I mean, it's all added value to those lots. We're keeping the 39,000 for now. But I would say by the end of the year, or as soon as the fiber optic is in, then all the prices will go up and you would be the benefit, you would benefit from that. But as far as the annual payments, right now, we're looking at just under 500 per year. The first year, because we're putting in the fiber optic, it'll be an additional 500. But that's only for the year to put in the fiber optic. But your return on that investment is what I was saying, is that you're then going to get that back because of the value of properties all go up.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yep. Thank you for the clarification, Phil. All right, Joe Wessel is asking, how do I find out about rentals? So you can email info@carmelitagardens.com and just let us know if you're interested in a rental. We have cottages and villas that are available for rent. The cottages, we have more cottages available for rent, and we offer vacation rentals. So short-term, you could do a month if you wanted to come experience the community for a month. And then we also have long-term rentals as well. The villas tend to rent out a little more aggressively for those who want a little more space. And the cottages are also a great option for one or a couple of people who are capable of cohabitating. Anything else to add there, Phil?
You're going to have a loft pretty soon, right?
Yeah. I could take overflow. Yes. As long as you don't mind children making a little bit of noise or giving you hugs at any given moment. Who doesn't like those? Okay. Charlene and Steve are asking, is there a fee or charge for the garbage pickup? I don't know the answer to that. And the other question is, I know insurance is available. What is the typical annual cost for homeowners insurance? And does it include food insurance?
So there is a fee for the garbage pickup. It's a very small fee. It basically pays for the transportation to the substation and the employee who goes around and picks it up. We try to keep it just, cover the cost of it essentially. And I think it's Chris has now changed it so that it's just based on how much you're disposing of. Yeah. Some people just are really good. They just have like a little bag, or sometimes they take care of their own waste. They don't have to, they can go when they go into town, they take care of it themselves. Not everybody does use the service. It's available. I always feel bad. It always looks like I create all of this trash, but when we have tours and events, it ends up in my trash can. And like, wow, look at Phil's. I was like, no, fine. The rest of it.
Phil's funding our trash pickups.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah. And then the homeowners insurance, and I'm not familiar with food insurance. So Steve and Charlene, we'll have to chat about that one. I'm not familiar with that.
I meant flood insurance. Flood insurance.
Oh, well, that's good. That makes a difference. Yeah. So Phil.
I was going to say that
with what's going on lately, who knows? Maybe somebody's coming up with food insurance. Who knows? Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Phil.
global food shortage. I was going to say that food insurance is the garden. That's the whole idea, right? That's our food insurance policy. So as far as the homeowners insurance, the kind of a rough rule of thumb is it is about $8 per thousand. I think, let me see if I got that right. I believe that's right. But what we can do, Kristen, is I think this is a good idea because this has come up. It doesn't come up every time and then I forget about it. But if you could make a note, let's
Yep, I just did.
a cottage, bungalow, and villa, because we have insurance policies, you know, the owners of each of those homes have policies. And so, I mean, we can just publish that. So for a cottage is this much, for a bungalow, and for a villa. So at least you got an idea of what it is. I do know that wood homes are much higher to insure than concrete homes. So the construction material and method that we're using now with these insulated concrete homes are considered concrete homes, which is great because that keeps the insurance down, as well as, you know, maintenance and greater longevity. And it's great when, you know, if you want well, if you don't even want air conditioning, just the climate control within the house is much better with those insulated concrete walls.
Yeah, and we have people who don't have air conditioning at all, and they're perfectly fine. I thought I saw Sally had a hand up. Sally, was your question answered? Was that the follow-on for the $1,500?
No, I was just wondering about like rainwater, like you guys catch the rainwater and then it gets used like somehow through filtered and then into the houses, or is that how that works?
Yeah, you got a good understanding.
Yeah. So there's the different components. There's the catchment area, which is the roof that catches the water. It goes into gutters and downspouts and into a cistern, which is integrated into the architecture of the home. So we really, from the very beginning, we didn't want to have a bunch of plastic tanks around or anything look like Sanford and Son or whatever. So you don't notice it, but it's part of the architecture of the home. And we store typically anywhere from 7 to 10,000 gallons, which is enough for a couple of people to get through the dry season and beyond when they're not conservative with the water. That period. So from the cistern, then it goes through a pressure system. It has a pressure pump and a pressure tank, and then through filtration. And different owners decide how much they want to filter it. Basically, sediment filter, also charcoal filter, and you can even put an inline UV filter. So it depends on how much you want to do it. You could do a reverse osmosis because more water. And RO takes nutrient water.
Yeah, hang on 1 second, Phil. Joe, I think we have your mic on. If you have a question, maybe you could, thank you, Joe. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so I was saying that you can even go to the RO, the reverse osmosis system, but that does require more water. And it does pull like all of the nutrients out of the water. So what I think it seems is the most popular, and I think the best, is if you have the charcoal and sediment filter, that seems to work just fine. But if you want it to be double sure, you could add a UV light in there as well.
I even, for my drinking water, I just go with a Berkey and I have it, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with those, pour it in drinking water, but yeah. It seems to work fine. I'm sorry, did I hear an additional question there? Comment? No? Okay. Next question. Ooh, we have more questions rolling in, and I have a hard stop at about 10:02, so I might have to hand over the Q&A to you, Phil, if you can monitor that here in a little bit. The next question is, what is the electric standard and not propane? Do we even have propane in Belize, Phil, or is it pretty much standard that it's butane? Most things are converted for butane use. So you can get propane, you know, appliances, and they convert to butane pretty easily. Most of them have already done that. And the electric standard is just your standard US, you know, socket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 110. Yeah. Yeah, I think I heard somebody was saying that that there's a mix of butane, propane that they find sometimes that comes from Guatemala, but in general, it's butane.
Yeah, and it works just fine. I mean, my food cooks just the same in the oven, and people convert their automobiles to butane, which can be expensive. Next question is, do you need AC in the summer? Manny, that's up to you. I'm going to use it because I'm going to be homeschooling my kids and I want my kids to be comfortable. Like I said, we have a number of residents that don't have it. They're perfectly comfortable not having it. There's a beautiful breeze. Phil probably mentioned that. That's pretty consistent across Carmelita. I love going out there because the house I'm in right now doesn't have that kind of breeze capture, and the house really warms up compared to the houses out at Carmelita. I've stayed in both, and I can tell you the Carmelita breeze really does make a difference. All right, Sally has asked, can a person have a boat? And if so, does the waterway lead to the ocean? And is the weather mostly sunny, looking to escape the gray of New Jersey? Amen. Yes, we have sun a lot. We have rainy season where you may have a few days of, rain and weather. And, we are in the hurricane zone. In the year and a half that I've been here, Phil can speak to it. He's been here longer, but it's not like you just get this period of several months like I had in Washington where you just get no sunshine. It's pretty sunny here. And then to address the question on the boat, the Belize River does empty into the ocean, but there aren't motorized vehicles much on the Belize River. I mean, we have Dan, who's got a kayak and he goes out every day. That would probably be about the size of a boat you'd want. I did see people with some, jet skis going down the Belize River recently, but that's a pretty rare occurrence.
Yeah, and there is an annual canoe race called La Ruta Maya that goes from San Ignacio. The first day, it goes right past Carmelita Gardens, and then day 4, they end up in Belize City at the ocean. But there's too many areas where it's kind of shallow for a motorboat to really get all the way. And I think it's about almost 180 miles of river. The country's only 80 miles across. So from here, as the crow flies, is about 70 miles to the sea. But the river winds a lot, and you've got about 180 miles of that. But believe it or not, Cayo, San Ignacio, back in the day, was an inland port. They had what they call pit pans, which are shallow draft boats where they would bring supplies upriver and then take agriculture products back downriver. But I think they had to portage some of those and to kind of get it over some of the, I don't know if they had mules or something that pulled them across, but today there's just, I think, too many shallow areas for a motorboat to be, reasonably navigated to the ocean from here.
Yeah, and then the noise. It's kind of nice to be in an area where you don't have the sound of motorboats going by. So Ashley's asking, can residents keep chickens or other homestead animals on their lots? We have residents that already have chickens. I have a cow already, and actually 2. I'd love to bring them out, horses on nearby lots, but I'll let Phil address that one. And then Phil, after this question, I might need to hand over the Q&A to you if you're able to access the chat from your end.
Okay, you just set me up. I mean, don't have a cow. I mean, come on, I couldn't resist that. You have a cow. There's room on some of these lots to have some different animals, but definitely chickens. We encourage that. I mean, it's part of food production. I've recently purchased another 113 acres nearby, and Chris and I were talking about raising some organic livestock and having that available. Our forest gardener, he's doing a permaculture approach to the forest garden that he's doing, and he's going to have some animals in there that will eat fallen fruits, and forage and things like that. That's what he's doing in Minnesota at his apple orchard now. And so he has organic hogs and some sheep and goats and things like that. So he intends to do kind of the same thing at a small scale. We live in the countryside. We want to, of course, respect our neighbors and, be clean and care for your animals. It doesn't matter if it's a dog or a chicken or, a goat or a sheep. But one of our volunteers came from Moscow. She didn't speak any English, and she now is one of our full-time employees. She does marketing. She does all sorts of great stuff for us. But when she was here, she approached me one time and said, Phil, I want a ship. And I'm thinking, a ship? What's a ship? Do you want to, like, yeah, you want on the river? It's like, no. And turns out she wanted a sheep. And so she did. She got a little lamb and she raised this lamb. It was black and white and named Oreo. And now on Dan's property next door, the former owner of the farm, we have a sheep that is in the herd of horses. So now Oreo thinks that she's a horse. But Elisa said Oreo has amnesty. Nobody can eat Oreo. So she's up
And
there.
Chip does as well. Our cow does as well. And he thinks he's a horse too. So we'll just have a bunch of animals thinking they're horses. Okay, I'm going to pose the next. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ashley.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I missed the answer about the fences, and then that kind of goes into if you're going to keep animals, right? So were fences allowed, or?
Yes, fences are allowed. And like I said, we kind of encourage, natural fencing as much as possible.
Okay.
Lines and, we don't want just, raw chain link or something like
Right.
that. Even, a wood fence with some box wire and maybe some, plantings around it. I mean, it can be done tastefully and not require really expensive fencing, but we're just looking for, I always say that, the home and the yard and, fences, little bridges, things like that are a gift to the street and to the community. So I always kind of be mindful of that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. Okay, I'm going to pose one more question. Then Phil, if you hop into the chat, you'd want to scroll down to the question that starts at 525. So this question is, do the older aftermarket homes like Jerry's have the new lithium batteries, or does the home have lead acid batteries? Does Jerry's home have a generator? And are there any restrictions about dogs? Already I can tell you there's no restrictions on dogs. We have residents with dogs in multiple houses. And I really enjoyed the Q&A, everyone. I really look forward to following up with some of you after this call today, as well as Donald and Scott. And if there's any questions that we can help you with, please send them my way. I had another commitment, so I need to jump off here shortly, but thank you so much for your time, and I'll leave you obviously in good hands with Phil. So nice to see you all, and hope to see you all down here soon. Thanks so much, Phil. Handing it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just got on the chat. I'm trying to find where she said we left off. Let's see, chickens. Lithium batteries. There we go. Okay, got it. From Charlene and Steve. Yes. Okay. So like Jerry's house. Yes, as lithium, pretty much that is the standard now. We got rid of lead acid batteries a couple of years ago. As the lithium came in, they became more efficient, less expensive, readily available. So and you can recycle lithium. So from the toxic waste and things like that, it's better kind of all around. So pretty much you'll find that it's all lithium batteries now. And Jerry does have a generator. No restrictions on dogs. Nope. Closing costs about 10%. Yep. What we're doing is we're continuing to try to keep these costs down, and looking at kind of lobbying the lands department for the lower valuations. What we're kind of our own worst enemy is we do, make more and more progress and, improve the roads and do all those things. Then, the value goes up, and now the lands department, they have Google Earth like everybody else. And so they're looking and they keep trying to, push our valuation up. But we're doing a pretty good job of keeping it down. The 8% that is referenced here, Charlene and Steve, there's an 8% stamp duty on all properties for foreigners. The Belizeans pay 5%, foreigners pay 8%, and that's on the valuation of the property. And then there's some other mapping, recording, registration fees, things like that go into it. Other duties, it just depends, like bringing in vehicles. It depends on how many cylinders. Is it a pickup truck? Is it, an SUV? The highest duty is on 8-cylinder luxury SUVs. There you're going to pay 70 to 80% of the Blue Book value of the vehicle. Trucks are the lowest, especially like lower cylinder, 4-cylinder trucks. We do have a gentleman who I've known for years. He splits his time between Houston and Orange Walk in northern Belize, and he transports vehicles down for people. He drives them through Mexico, and then has good connections at the border with customs brokers and keeping the valuation down in order to pay the least amount of import duty on that. When it comes to other things, when you're like flying into the country, it's kind of like like I've come and gone into the U.S. and sometimes I have to pay duty on the things that I'm bringing in, and it just seems to be kind of at the whim of the customs officer at the time. And it's sort of the similar thing here. You can get some idea of what certain things, if you get on, there's a website that is the Belize, I think it's like tariff and import. If you search that, you can find certain duties, but there's some stuff that you just, like I brought a chainsaw in one time on the airplane. Obviously that was a long time ago. But they didn't even really know, I don't know, what's the charge for the duty on this? And so they just threw out a number and I paid it. As smart move to bring Kristen. You are absolutely right. She's, as everybody can tell, she's great. I mean, I'm here to, she said capable hands. I'm not sure. She did a great job with this chat. It's more challenging than I thought. How do you use the rainwater? Okay, Sally, I think we answered that, but it goes through the whole house. It's piped in the whole house. So, at the sink, at the shower, at the toilet, water spigots on the outside. Yeah, and water lines if you have an ice maker in the refrigerator. So just like supplied water in a municipal system, same thing with the rainwater. Typical rental cost for cottages and houses. Short-term rental with it's like a 105 per night. And then there will be a $25 cleaning fee. If you're wanting a weekly rental, I think it's $400 to $500. So there's some savings over the nightly. And then the same thing as you go to monthly. And as you go to long-term, we do long-term. So it's just like renting a house, and then you would be responsible for your own, internet and mowing, and just kind of just like renting a house long-term in the States would be, in Canada. And I think the long-term is about $900 per month. But we have a chart, and we can email that information to you. The fences, we covered that. Jeffrey's got a cistern cleaning business. Yep, we do that. It's kind of like part of the spring cleaning here is because that's May, really the driest month, and so April, your cistern is going down. It's being replenished only a little bit, and then May it goes down. So at the end of May, your cistern is down really at the lowest that it'll be before rains start in June. So that's a good time to go in and pump it out and then clean it thoroughly. And so if that's something that you have experience in, that's great. Oftentimes, people are talking about something that they have done or they want to do. It's their occupation or it's an intended avocation. And they're like, oh, can I, do that in Belize, and can I make a living? And most of the time I'm like, no, don't plan on that. There's just a small population here, and don't think you're going to come down and start a business and make a fortune, or just, get employed by a business here. There's only 400,000 people in the whole country. So it's a small economy, but there are these little niches sometimes that come up. And so something like that, again, we only have so many cisterns, and it only happens occasionally. So it's not something that you're going to make a fortune doing, but it is something that, we need, and we do. Yeah, if you go to info@carmelitagardens.com, that's a place to get more information from the staff there. Okay, the rent. Is it better to buy or import a vehicle? A lot of people import vehicles, especially if it's a vehicle that you already have, that you know well, you like it, it's paid for perhaps. Then it makes sense probably to ship it down. But there are new car dealerships here, so you can buy a new car, and we have people that have done that. There's a car dealership in Spanish Lookout, the Mennonite community, where they have imported Chinese vehicles. So this it's called a Wingle, and the Wingle's a popular kind of a knockoff on a Nissan pickup truck, and the dealership has great customer service and warranties and stuff like that. So we've had probably half a dozen owners that have bought new Wingle pickup trucks from the Spanish Lookout Caribbean Motors dealership. No financing on building homes or cottages yet. We're working on that. What we're thinking is that we might pair up investors with people looking for a home building loan rather than sending to the banks. There are banks that do home mortgages, but the requirements is usually about 60% loan to value. And then the interest rate is very high, anywhere 10 to 13%. So it's something that I don't know if anybody's ever done that. But there are a lot of people that have been approaching me in particular, and Kristen said that she's had a couple of people approach her about, hey, we want to do an investment. Do you have any kind of just straight up investment? So that might be an opportunity in the future that we can pair people up for home loans. Will we get a link to this recording? Yes, we can send you a link. I'll make sure that Elisa and Kristen get on that. That's not incompetent hands here, but I know it can be done. We've done that before. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Joe. Thank you. I think you might have signed off already. Manny asking about the paved roads. Okay, yeah, and Honduras, I think, like Kristen said, now that we're, been compacting it and everything, we're trying to keep the dust down a little bit more, and we'll try to, continue to maintain that during the dry season with spray. No, the 10% closing cost is not in addition to, it's just 10%. That covers everything. And so without financing, the draw schedule is what we call it for construction. So we have the whole construction cost, we have a schedule for building, and then the budget is broken up into percentages for each one of those building stages. And so the initial mobilization is about a third of the overall budget. And then we go about 20, and then a small amount at the end. The most recent one that we've done, we've bumped up a little bit because we're purchasing a part of the solar package up front. That's what's used then to use to power the construction site. And then when it's finished, they mount the solar package in the house. So what seems to work is about 34%, 21, 21, 21, and then 3% after the walkthrough and punch list. And so Manny's asking, about your lot. I don't actually have the site map with the dimensions in front of me, but I can get that for you. And Manny, if you want, at any time, we can do a personal tour and go take a look at your lot. What I can do is I can have the machete crew go and kind of clear out the river frontage there. I'm sure there's probably some little underbrush, but we can do that and then schedule the call so you can really get a good view of your riverfront there. Okay, well, let me get back to the screen here and see everybody's smiling face. Any additional questions? Again, that info@carmelitagardens.com is really the place to go. And if there's ever things that the staff doesn't have answers to or need me to get involved, I'm always here. I'm always really happy. It's my favorite thing to do. So I always welcome a break from some of the other things to get on a call. do a little tour or whatever it is that you need. And let us know. I know that we have some folks that are already planning their visit, and we have some owners on the call now. So it's really great. We had a good crowd today, over 20 people on the call. So thank you all very much. I appreciate you joining us for the tour. And the next best thing is being here. And I really hope that you can come down and join us. And thank you, Charlene and Steve. And I think we're going to see you tomorrow for a personal tour of Jerry's house. All right. I look forward to it. And yeah, and Manny, just let me know when you and Ruth want to go on a personal tour, and anybody else for that matter. So, all right. I see a lot of people waving. Thank you very much. And y'all have a great evening and a wonderful weekend.